This is Prasad Mani welcoming you all on behalf of Prozenics. Prozenics provides training and consulting services in various technology and process areas. We are happy to host the November webinar on the topic titled Jira for Large-Scale Agile Framework delivered by Sunil Raj. Sunil is an Agile practitioner with good implementation knowledge on Jira and administration of Jira. Without further delay, I would like to hand over it to Sunil.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Sunil Raj Sudhakar. Mostly all the Agile frameworks on the large scale like SAFe, LESS or DAD, Spotify, whatever it is. Basically, everything at portfolio level happens with the Gantt chart and planning. When we are doing a Gantt chart planning, and then so basically at the portfolio level and solution or program level with respective to SAFe, or at a very high level of management, everything happens with Kanban, and also with a tentative roadmap of having a sequence of Gantt chart when it can be delivered, and how we will be able to place our market competencies for at least a visionary for a year. So basically, everybody would have seen Jira for hosting with respective to sprint plans and sprints and so on. So how do we actually scale it at the level of management level, and how to draw releases cycle, and how we have a Gantt chart and so on. That is what we are about to look. One thing that we need to really look for is, I'm taking a few examples of multiple projects. So we have at least 5 projects in the current Jira. When it comes to a portfolio or a very high level of planning, we will not be engaged with only one project. So that's the predominant thing that I need to first set the stage. So once after this, we will actually look into the epics and so on. So before that, we will see what are all the releases that each project contains. So at least I'm going to touch upon with 3 projects for this webinar. So Prozenics dashboard, Prozenics structures, and Prozenics infrastructure. So let's move on to having the first project, which is Prozenics dashboard. Let's think about planning for 3 releases a year. When we are going for a product level of, product level releases, we will be having component releases basically. So how we could imagine is, at least I am creating 2 release versions. So PD 2.1, maybe the start date be after December 7, as I have already set something for before. So December 25, and the next project that we can touch upon is Prozenics infra setup, and also create this is sample stuff. So how we are going to engage it with the portfolio level of planning is, just go to the portfolio tab. So the configuration that I have made is, I'll first show the configuration that we have set it for webinar. So when it comes to a portfolio level of planning, we will never choose any boards or stuffs. So I have imported the issue sources from all three projects like Prozenics infrastructure, structures, and dashboard, where I have been using just now. So all the epics that has been created under each project will be listed. So you could see PAS is from Prozenics infra setup, and PD is from Prozenics dashboard, and PS is from Prozenics structures. So when we have a very high level of planning with our portfolio managers and so on, so we will be infra setup might be part of 1.0, where the target could be like November 1 till November maybe 27. So that is the first set that we do, and then create a program board. So this is purely a training based uh, instance, Jira instance that we use. So you can set up your ideal dates accordingly. So at least I'm going to create it for 5 to 10 boards. So this might be looking like a transactional job for now, but actual in reality, we will be doing a lot of groundwork in order to fetch some dates. So one thing about Jira portfolio is always on the top. You need to first have a proper discussion with the entire group that you have with the program management, for product management, and the system management, and think about the dependencies and so on. And you need to first of all go on the top and do the commit whether whatever you have set is correct or not. That is more important. So just go ahead and commit the changes. Good. So now we will be able to see the Gantt chart accordingly. So this is the series of Gantt chart that we could see with respective to when we could expect some of the releases. So all our releases will be the milestones in our uh, uh, Gantt chart. So each of the schedules that we are making it as a I mean, with the target start and end date, will go into each of the divisions, and you will also be able to see the releases where you are tied with and the different projects. So you will be able to see the progress also, where we are with respective to each of the releases. At least one release we have tried to mock and complete before. So whenever you do some completion status for that particular tagged releases, it will be in green, so that you can just go ahead and do a release for this. So this is how we first align it with releases and the portfolio level planning for the projects. And you can actually also, for example, this is the way how enterprise level planning has happened for one particular year at least. So once later to that, from the scope, we might be one RTE of each program may need to show his status alone. So you can choose with respective to what is on Prozenics infra setup for maybe Prozenics 2.0. So you will be able to see some list of items. Yeah. So these are the stuff that will be part of Prozenics structures. So basically, this is how we show and drill down with respective to each of the releases at the project level. So how it happens in real time is I have segregated into three different components maybe, where it will be like called as Prozenics as a design unit on the whole. So each of this will be contributing towards the component releases, whereas we will be monitoring our whole of releases, maybe like PAS 1.0, PS 1.0, and PD 1.0. This is how we track. So this is the target that we have for the November month. and how are we going to see the progress and so on. And beyond this, you can also have your team structures with respective to Jira. Basically, portfolio teams doesn't support the same for the projects in Jira. So I always prefer to have the project levels at the teams as well. And also, I would like to show some of the reports. Uh, I don't know how many of you are clear about investment bucket based planning. So there is an option to see how much that we invest based on new development, enhancements, maintenance, and so on. So there is a setup called theme in Jira. So how you can start doing is just first thing is you need to set up the kind of investment bucketing system. So it is like new dev. Maybe I target it for 45%. Okay, and maintenance. And then maintenance, I would think about 15%, for example. And later to that, we do like support for almost like 10%. And security, for example, we do that for another maybe 20%. So similarly, so whenever you do some changes like this, first we need to go and commit. That is more and more important with respective to portfolio. So now how are we going to track this? That's the next step. So at least now we have set up some kind of investment team buckets. So how we are going to engage whether we are going with this investment bucket trackers. There is an option in Jira. So you need to go to themes. So maybe I'm setting, so the most important thing is we need to get the estimates as well. So for example, I'm giving this as maintenance and maybe this as new dev. So whatever we have created already will be visible in this. So you can go ahead and do it with respective to user story level. Please do not do it at epic level in your reality, whereas you will be able to see all the user stories as well. So whenever you do a estimation, for example, maybe 8, 13, okay. So when we have all our estimates, now let's go to the reports. So you will be able to see the distribution. So actually we have set something on new development for 35%, but whereas the slippage is like as per our estimates or team's estimates, it is getting into 42%. So this is how we really need to track all our changes. So this will be a useful stuff on an ongoing project for, I mean, product planning for at least more than a year, so that we will be able to see what is the ongoing stuff and what has been completed and how it is getting deviated from the actual spending that we are doing. So always in Jira, go ahead and do the commit stuff, because without commit, Jira takes it. It's similar to database. So whenever we have something done, we need to go ahead and do a commit. So why this happens is, this is at a, if it is a sprint or some other level, it just happens as it is. There is no commit or something, but since this is having a high level of sensitive data, people look after with the commitment mode. That's the only reason why they have kept as commit. And we have multiple other reports as well. Scope, that is what we have seen so far. So you will be able to see the progress, and based on the releases, we can actually go ahead and do. So this is one report. And schedule. So schedule will get you, this is a version, I mean the other view instead of the consolidated view, where we will be able to see which feature is scheduled for where in the projects. And capacity, actually this we need to first set what is the capacity that we have for our teams, maybe with respect to story points. So if you are burning high, here the Jira will be showing you whether you are under the underutilized capacity or overutilizing based on the team's input on each sprints. And the most important thing is dependency mapping. So Jira shows you the dependent epics and dependent any other issue types that we have. So this is one of the most important things. So we will be able to, as a portfolio planning level, we need to first understand from the different teams what are all the dependencies that the team have with the other teams, or as a product planning, what are all the dependencies that we may need to uncover during our PA planning or some other kind of large session plannings. And this is purely like the Gantt chart window. So this is what has a high level picture, and we can configure with respective to any of the projects and settings that we have with respective to a high level planning, and drilling it down to solutions and programs and multiple teams. So I'm not taking anything in this webinar, at least on the team level sprint planning, because the entire plan is all about having more of uh, the exact only at the product planning level. Yeah, that's it from my side. Let's go through the questions. There is a question: how did you get the upper Gantt chart? The Gantt chart is basically this is a portfolio plugin which we need to do it when I mean install it in our Jira, especially when we are going for any kind of large scale frameworks. Will the completed or done task will get displayed in the portfolio view? Excellent question. Actually, uh, whenever something completed, it goes away. At least user stories will not be visible once you get it completed or done, but epics will be still displayed though it is completed or done. How to create a dependency? It's pretty simple. I can show you one part maybe. Okay, so I'm taking PD, maybe PD4 and PD34. If you are a Jira user, you could have seen that before. PD34, yes. PD34, as well as it can be done cross project as well. Let me put it under PS11 as well. Okay, so now if we go to reports and see the dependencies. So basically, this is the way how we uh, do the dependency, and it should be displayed. Maybe I'm not sure why it is not getting reflected, but the dependencies are managed only by that, whereas you do it at the link issue between 2 or 3 issues. So all those are displayed here. Any other chat questions? Okay, thank you. Prasad, I'm done.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, there is a question, why was it not shown? I'm really not clear why it didn't get to show. Uh, Actually, usually it used to show, but I'm pretty not clear why it is not reflected. And there is no need for commitment in this. Only thing is you need to do the link. So there is nothing more than that for getting it displayed here.